Okay. Hello and welcome to day 36. Lately, I've been in my emotions, so that's the reason why I haven't been able to upload the videos for day 33, 34, and 35. So I've finally found a solution to that. So before I trade every day, I'll first post the pre-market analysis. Okay. So I'll take you all through my thinking process, what I look to see or what I look to happen during the New York session. All right. So yes. So we will do the analysis together. I post the analysis, and later in the day, after I take my trades, I post the post-market update, all right? The post-market breakdown, all right? So I want to keep this video as natural as possible. I don't want to use screenshots to define anything again. I want to keep it as natural as possible. So that I can feel real, all right? Yes, that's what I think will help me. Okay. So now let's start. So first thing, before I start my analysis, I like to I like to know the market direction. All right. Yes, I like to know the market direction. And how do I know, or how do I get to know where the market is moving to? Okay. So this is it. This video is going to be more of like a tutorial, but it's not a tutorial. It's actually how I think. I'm just keeping it real. Okay. Yeah. So I trade supply and demand, and I believe that the market moves from supply to demand or support to resistance. Okay, so with every supply or demand, there should be a resistance or support. Do you understand? So what I'm going to be looking for on every time, price doesn't know time. Okay, so what I'll be looking for on the monthly time frame or the weekly time frame will be the same thing I'll be looking for on the 1 minute time frame or 5 minute time frame. All right. So this is what I'll be looking for um when I'm looking at a supply. Okay. So for a supply, I'll be looking for something like this. One, two, maybe a three, and a four. Okay. So this will be a supply to me. And let's assume that we have our supply here. Okay. So now we can all see that before the supply was created, a resistance was first what created. Or no, before we get to the supply, we first have to what get to a support or a resistance, all right? And where is that support and resistance going to be? Here is the support or resistance level. Okay. Sometimes we'll see that price will come, retrace back into the support or resistance, and then do what? And then continue without even getting to the what? The supply. Okay. And sometimes also we'll break the support or resistance and go straight into the what? Into the supply. So that is the first, how do I call it? The first scenario for a what? A supply. Okay. And this will be the second one. Second one is going to be the continuation. So for the continuation, it will be something like this. Two and three. So here we also have our supply here. And before we get to the supply, we'll have to do what? Get to the support or resistance first. Okay. So this is what I look for on every time frame. All right. That's how I determine my market's direction. Okay. So whenever we have this break right here, and we have our support or resistance here, where will price do what? Reverse from. So price is also likely to reverse from what? The same thing we are looking for on the what? The same thing we are looking for the supply. Okay. So what do I mean? Price is also going to meet a what? A support or resistance somewhere. this, yeah, okay, something like this. Let me delete this. Okay, so price is going to do what? Meet this support or resistance here, and probably use that support or resistance for what? For the retracement, use use the demand here. Okay, as simple as that. So yes, this is what I'll be looking for on every time frame to determine my market direction. All right. So let's get straight to it. So I start from the monthly time frame. Sorry. So on the monthly time frame, we could see that there was a resistance right here. Okay. Uh, sorry. There was this resistance right here. This monthly support or resistance right here. Okay. And after that support or resistance, we had a what? We had a supply. So now price is reacting off of what? Of this supply. And has also started what? Giving an impulse. Okay. So where are we expecting price to be next? I'll be expecting price to get here next. So this is the next support or resistance on the monthly time frame. Okay. And this is the what? This right here, this candlestick right here is the next demand for price to what? To get to. If you don't get a move off of the supply, off of the support or resistance, sorry. So then I'll go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, what do we see? We can also see that. So let me delete this monthly support or resistance because we gave the what the impulse. We started giving the impulse from the supply instead of the support or resistance. So I delete that. So now on the weekly time frame, we saw that price has also what? Broken. Price also broke what? Also broke structure and then created this what? The support or resistance with this what? Supply right here. Okay. The weekly time frame then did what? Reverse into the supply, broke the support or resistance, or we delete it, and then use the supply to what? To give this impulse it's given right now. Okay. So what is the next target for price for me? I'll be expecting price to get here next. As I earlier told you guys or showed you guys, this is a continuation with support or resistance with a demand. Okay. So this will be the first area. The first area price has already touched, which is this is the first area. Price already touched and gave and use that support or resistance to give that impulse in confluence with this demand to give that impulse back into the supply. So it's been touched, it's been used. My next area going to be here. So also this next weekly support or resistance price has already got touched. Okay. So what do we have next? What we have next is this demand sitting right here. Okay. So on a weekly time frame, we have this demand that price has to what? I expect price to visit next. But first, we'll have to break this support or resistance. Though it has been touched, but price is still above it. So I'm expecting price to what? To get to it next before this demand is what? Is touched. Okay, as simple as that. So on the monthly, we all could see that price is what in a price is in a bearish move. All right, or price is bearish. And also on the weekly time frame, price is also what? Bearish. Then go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we can also see that price broke structure and created a what? A perfect support or resistance in confluence with a what? With a supply. Okay, so what am I talking about? This is what I'm talking about. This right here. Okay, in confluence with this supply right here. And this supply is also in confluence with the weekly supply, which makes this supply what, how will I say, a strong area of supply, but still price will decide if that area is going to be strong or not. So this is what I'm talking about. We could see that when price came here, came to this first support or resistance in confluence with the demand, price didn't use the demand here. Okay, price used this support or resistance. So this was the very last support or resistance right here. Okay, price used this support or resistance to retrace back into this what? Support or resistance. Okay, and it actually used this exact support or resistance. Okay, and price is then using that support or resistance to give this impulse. Okay, price use that support or resistance to give the impulse into this demand right here. Let me put it that way. Okay, so we delete this. So now we are inside of what? We are inside a demand zone. And we are currently what? Breaking it. That's what price is literally doing. Okay. So if we are to break this demand, then the next area for price to likely get to is this weekly support or resistance. Okay. Or if price doesn't break this demand and price start to give an impulse back, our expectancy will be a reversal from here or a reversal from this supply right here. Why? Because we've already used the support or resistance in this zone to give this impulse right here into demand. And when we gave that impulse, we formed a new support or resistance in confluence with a supply. So that area also becomes an area of interest. So to break this down further, let me delete this one and delete this one for now. Okay, let me keep that one there. To break it down further, we go to the 1 hour time frame and we could see it beautifully. Okay, so now on the 1 hour time frame, we could see that we are what? We've invalidated a low right here. So now this is also a support or resistance on the 1 hour time frame that we'll be looking for price to probably give a retracement of. And we also have a supply in confluence here. So what is the next target for the 1 hour? You can see down here, we have a support or resistance in confluence with the demand. In confluence with this demand. So let me use this instead. Let me use this. So this is the first support or resistance. This is the second one. Third. And I think that'll be all for today. So these are the three support or resistance in confluence with this demand that will be expecting price to do what? To come to next if you are to continue the bearish impulse. Okay. Why does it confirm that? Or why do I say that? I say that because we've invalidated this low right here. So this low invalidation created what? Created this supply right here inside the daily demand. Okay, so that is actually telling us that we've broken the daily demand and we are currently heading down toward to the what? The weekly support or resistance. But then we can have a temporal retracement from this 1 hour support or resistance in confluence with demand down here. So yes, this is what I'm expecting for the New York session. If price is to continue the impulse before the New York session opens to the downside, then I'll be anticipating for some sales. But if you are to get a reversal back into the zone and I get a perfect sell or a perfect bearish setup, then I'll likely take it down to this support or resistance. Okay. But if you are to invalidate this support or resistance in confluence with supply and also invalidate this high right here, then I think we'll be looking for some buys into the daily supply or the daily support or resistance. So yes, that is it for today, and I'll see you guys after today's trade. Thank you.